Thing is, though, I want to ask this, especially as someone who's scrimmed against Rogue, right? The vibe I'm getting from Malrang, because the story, by the way, for all the talk shows I've watched has been the same. It's like, right, yeah, he's winning all these games, especially when Rogue was undefeated, but, eventually people are going to figure out his gimmicky style and they're going to shut him down. But I can tell you, I'll give you a very quick analogy, right? In CSGO, a similar thing happened from what I think is happening with Malrang. So there's a player in CSGO who was a Russian player called Jim, who played for the team Virtus Pro, and he's actually the opposite type of player to Malrang. He's an incredibly conservative player, even though in CSGO he's actually the sniper, which is normally like, it's not the most aggressive role, but you normally have to take angles to take shots and stuff. What this guy does basically is he sort of plays like a beta. He just always is like behind the angle or like conservatively positioned. And you'd think, right, when he does this, because in theory it should be actually like a not very efficient style in Counter-Strike, you'd think every team would just watch the games like an analyst and a neutral observer and just go, oh, this is easy, just do X, Y, and Z and you shut this guy down. But the premise I've noticed is it doesn't happen in official games. His style actually is way more effective than you would think it would be. And my theory goes like this. It's because unless you did have a game plan only for this one player, it won't work. Every other player at his position basically trains you to play wrong against this guy because he's so unorthodox. I get the same vibe about Malrang. Like everyone thinks, when you watch it just as like a random watching the game, yeah, why aren't they shutting this down? Like, look, fucking just get him early on the Hecarim. Like, it feels like teams just can't do it, Nelson. Like, what is it about this guy's style? Like, something about the fucking gambles he takes. People can't predict it. They can't be ready for it somehow.
I think his style is good for Europe for sure, and I think at least from my experience, almost every jungler or most of the junglers in China, they have this style, or they can just turn it on if they need to. But I just think Europe doesn't have experience facing like this type of junglers because he tries to prey on the tendencies which most players will make. So he will appear at the most like unexpected places.
I feel like
everyone is like
everyone is
into like farming, no? Like everyone is into like efficiency, farming all my camps on spot, but he's not. And then teams just suddenly they just don't know how to handle it, or they don't know how to ward against it.
He really is the anti-inspired. It's so wild, isn't it? Like, so contrasted as a player.
But I think the good thing is also that he has good laners, so
of course,
the play style which is fine,
Yes, that's why I say earlier, if he was on the worst team, I think he just didn't, dude.
I think he's just better at how to say it. Like, he's better at being Yankos, compared to Yankos himself.
He's a better Yankos than Yankos?
Yep.
Okay, nice. I mean, when I was watching these games, I didn't feel like Malrang was doing like the ultimate like center plays that I saw earlier this season. Sure. I felt like he was playing like relatively just like, he was just like playing like well around his timings. And
no, he was playing Hecarim.
Yeah, he was playing Hecarim, but even like the Trundle game, it's not like he's doing it. It's not like he's hitting like, he's like skilling pillar and then level 2 ganking mid. It's like, what the fuck? This guy's a psychopath. What is he doing? It's like, I feel like he played the games just well. He just played like just normal, standard, good jungling. Like if you're playing Trundle, these are the opportunities you're going to take. And, he got them all off. So I feel like the Hecarim games, it's just, you're just playing Hecarim, just like Nelson says, like Hecarim's just broken for a reason. Most people ban it. Most people ban it against him for a reason. So those games, I don't, and plus also Hecarim is like not one of those champions where you can like Omega sin a lot of the times. Like a lot of times the reason why Hecarim is so broken is that you can still gank and you clear so fast that you'll like always be in the places to be able to gank. So I felt like Malrang like maybe the first 2 games he was doing some of that. I think the Lee Sin game was probably the most like Malrang style game where he was just finding kills that other people wouldn't find, like the solo kill on the Pyke in the enemy in his own jungle. Like some of those plays where I was like, oh, that's like more Malrang. But they actually lost those games. And then when he just started playing like normal, they just won every game. So it's interesting.
Fair enough.
I'm not so sure because I just think he's playing Hecarim. He's just playing the champion, or the champion is just playing him, so he won. But I think for sure, game 5, he's just punishing humanoids like bad early laning phase where he didn't control the minion wave properly and just ganked on third wave. I think against every jungler in the world, you're gonna get ganked in that matchup if you didn't crash on 2, because it is so obvious.
Yeah. Even if you don't get ganked, like you at least need to play it in a way where you're like making them work for the gank, like you're hugging the right side, like, or you just like, even if you don't crash it, like you go and you like ward while you're laning, because pretty much you have full agency in this matchup as TF. In the first like 3 levels, I mean, Sylas is just not a champion early game. So yeah, I think that this was but this is kind of how Humanoid plays. This is like why I feel like Humanoid is generally so good in Europe, is because he just plays like the jungler is always there.
Yeah, but that is rubbish, because even if the jungler is there, they're gonna win the 2v2. As in, the Trundle side will win the 2v2 as well. So,
but he won't die. He won't die like this. Like, I mean, he would have to. They would have to fuck it up pretty hard to die like this. I mean, for him to die, he had to not select a card, face check the guy, and he still almost lived. So it's
no. And what I meant, if he just stayed in lane and tried to push it out, there would still be a gank. And even if Resurrect is there, it's good for the Sylas team, because Sylas just wants to get level, and Trundle, he also hopes that enemy jungler doesn't farm at all, and they can't win that 2v2. So it's just him playing bad. There's no mind game in that.
Yeah, I don't think it's as much a mind game, but it's just like how like Humanoid will play, and normally like they'll end up being like some type of benefit from the enemy jungle wasting resources, because a lot of times he's not dying like this over and over. Like he's just absorbed, like maybe he'll lose a flash that he shouldn't lose, or he'll like have to give up a wave that he doesn't need to give up. Like there'll be some type of punish that will not be as severe as like, oh, we're just fucking dead and we lost our flash and now like the Sylas is online. Like this seemed especially bad, and then it's also like a Sylas that has a dark seal, so I felt like this was like an ultra punish, whereas like, I mean, Humanoid normally I feel like he lanes like the jungler is like the enemy jungler doesn't exist. Not so much about his jungle, but like the enemy jungler does not exist to Humanoid most of the time.
Yeah, I can see that for sure. 'Cause even last split he was the same.
Want to see more cool, funny, interesting clips based on topics from my content? Well, subscribe to this channel then, or be a pleb and don't.